So welcome back to DecoyNoise and another episode of Am I the Antagonist taking to Decoy Court. And today's post is, am I the antagonist for perceiving the relationship that I, a 23-year-old female, had with my boss, a 27-year-old female, wrong? So before we get in the video, as always, I want to ask that you guys are subscribing down below and turning on the notifications, because as you probably could tell, I'm changing the thumbnail style drastically. I realize I'm not a Reddit reading channel, I'm not a podcast, I'm not a just a regular commentary channel, so I'm just trying to figure out my niche, and hopefully my helps my channel grow. So you won't see my videos or recognize them unless you're subscribed with the notifications on. So hopefully you do that, but if not, that's okay. And let's go ahead and get to the post today. So OP wrote, my boss Joanna, a 27-year-old female, and I, a 23-year-old female, have always gotten along pretty much since day one. I'll admit, some days it did feel more like she was my friend than my boss. But I always did whatever she asked me to do when she asked me to do it, and I made sure to do it well. She's been training me to do various tasks, but in between our work, we have a lot of fun, chatting about different topics like food and shows and other pop culture stuff. She would show me funny TikToks, and I would show her memes from Twitter. The relationship that we developed was quite bantery. It's quite a bantery relationship, and we would tease each other a lot and joke around constantly. She never, ever seemed to have a problem with this, and never even gave me any sign that she didn't like it. I have really bad social anxiety, and it takes me a little bit to warm up to people. I'm always triple thinking what I say and how I act because I'm nervous about coming off weird or bad. Joanna never made me feel like this, and I appreciated feeling like I finally had a boss who I could approach with almost any topic. The other day, she had a big bowl of candy on her desk, and I laughed and said, "You're so mean for bringing candy in. I've been working out and eating healthy for 2 years, and this is something we talk about often, so that's what I was referring to." She immediately freaks out and tells me, "I don't know who you think you are, but you do not speak to me like that." I was shocked. I laughed because I was kind of confused. She continued and said, "Don't ever say something like that to me again. I want an apology. Now." Still super confused, I said, I'm sorry. And she said, "Okay." This happened right as I was putting on my jacket to leave for the weekend. I went back to work on Tuesday, and immediately she's like, "OP, I think we need to have a little chat." She then proceeds to tell me that I'm a great worker, but I need to think about things before I say them. She also said there's a very fine line between what's appropriate and what's inappropriate, and that I crossed that line last week. Then she said she also needs to stop being negative when she assigns me to a task, and to just do it. The only negativity I can think of is when she tells me to do something and I fake sigh, and then we laugh about it together. I was again shocked. I'm an angry crier, and I knew that if I tried to say anything, I would have started sobbing, so I just nodded and turned back to my desk and didn't talk to her the rest of my very awkward 5-hour shift. About 4 hours in, she goes, "OP, you're so quiet today. Are you mad?" Yeah, I was mad before the comment made me livid. I just kept my head down and said, "Nope, just reading. I'm just hurt and confused, honestly." Too long didn't read. My boss and I have a great relationship. During the past 4.5 months, we've worked together, but she suddenly flipped the script and said I've been inappropriate this entire time. Am I the antagonist? And edit. I appreciate the feedback I'm getting from everyone that's helping me ease my mind a bit. There are a few things I want to add that I didn't have room in my original post. This is a work-study job at my school's library. All of my coworkers are between the ages of 18 to 23. I'm always extremely mindful about whether other people are around when I say things to Joanna to make sure we're always coming across professional to faculty or patrons. Joanna has often talked to me about my coworkers, her subordinates, express excitement about my graduation in the spring, so she can tell me about the tea that she can't now because she's still my boss, and even said to me once not to go to a neighboring college town to meet boys because their adult mommy daddy sheet monster time there is weak. Yeah, these things are all unprofessional, but they never bothered me because I guess I just thought that was the type of relationship we had, and it was okay as long as I still treated her with respect and treated her as my boss before my friend. So, taking the case and rushing it over to Decoy Court because they need my final judgment over here, and this does sound like kind of either a power move where, yes, they have a fun relationship and they want to be good pals. Like, I am a people manager myself, and I try to keep a very open door, transparent policy with my people where if they like me as a person, they're excited to come to work and you get more productivity out of them. So I know that there is a fine line you have to walk when you have, hey, my employees are my friends. I know how to make them happy. I know how to make them feel like this is a place where their work is appreciated, but I also know how to draw the line of I'm still your superior, I'm still your boss, I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm going to reprimand you when you start to drift off and you're no longer productive. So it's a delicate thing, but this is not the way to snap them back into line where once they start to drift off a little bit, you just gotta give them the subtle reminders, like, okay, you know what, don't give me an attitude with that. Like, we're friends, but still get the job done. Like, just be happy, like, you know, be happy that it's not a worse situation for you, and that's a good thing. But the whole her seeing the candy dish and like, oh my god, I can't believe the candy dish is like right there. How do I make this about me? Quite possibly it was just a situation where that was the final straw, and then she, like, you know, lashed out at her. I don't think that's the right thing to do, but I guess that would bring me over to the decoy defense, which would be is, what if they're close but they don't know the boss's constant struggle with weight loss or weight gain, or, you know, how they feel about it, and maybe it just hit too close to home for them. The simple fact that they're having conversations about neighboring colleges and the boys that go there, and her dissatisfaction of their interactions behind closed doors, makes me feel like they should be able to have that conversation talking about things like that. And then for her to be, oh my god, I'm so upset with you, never talk to me like that, you're giving me attitude now, and all of a sudden after that one comment their whole performance is seen in a different light. I don't like that, but I could see how there would be something that's, you know, everybody's sensitive, nobody's perfect, and everybody has a, you know, a button you can push. Maybe that candy dish was that button. But then I look at this as well, like my mind is in so many different places with this, but just I don't see as this a situation where maybe it's not genuinely the way that OP sees it. She says that she's socially awkward, she has anxiety. Maybe this whole relationship was a big misunderstanding in her mind, where she was like, yeah, we're close, we talk about things, but maybe she's always making the boss uncomfortable. Maybe she's talking about the, you know, she says the boss said, hey, don't go over to that neighboring college, those boys don't know how to treat a lady. Maybe that wasn't the way the conversation went down. Maybe, you know, OP's just oversharing all the time and everybody's uncomfortable with her. And in order to shut her up, the boss was like, okay, I don't care about you going to the college. Yeah, they probably suck, whatever. Just shut up. This is a library, not a nightclub. Stop it. So, I mean, I could see that both in the decoy court and the decoy defense. But I'm going to go ahead and say right here that maybe very lightly that there is a... No, with the decoy court, the way it is, the way that she lashed out, I'm going to go ahead and say that OP's not the antagonist in the event of maybe no antagonist here, because maybe OP just reads the situation wrong and thinks they're closer, so she needs to be reprimanded, and just it always went over her head when she was receiving feedback from her superior. Or maybe it was just the boss going on a power trip on something that's very, you know, sensitive to her, so she went overboard with the coaching. So, I mean, that's my thoughts. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. That's why we go over to the top comments and the controversial comments, but I do want to know what your comments are. So we'll take a short break before we read the prosecution and the defense of the Reddit commenters. But, you know, let me know what you guys are thinking down below. We'll take that short break, then get over to that top comment, because that top comment is, she's playing games and they're not nice. Suddenly pulling you up for a very minor joke is totally weird. I had a boss I had a very formal relationship with who was always brought in cakes, and I said to her jokingly, you're so mean, they look delicious, etc. And we both laugh. This is totally normal office behavior. Demanding an apology is a real power move. So all you can do now is what she said. No more banter, no more memes, no fake sighing. Be polite, professional, and distant. If she asks you what changed, I guess you could say you thought about her comment the other day and you're just trying to behave in a professional manner. There's no point in trying to engage with her about this, and she's being incredibly unkind and she knows it. Just keep her at arm's length and be unfailingly professional. I'm sorry this happened, it's not your fault. And to include judgment, not the antagonist, not the antagonist, not the antagonist, as if it was Beetlejuice and not the antagonist creature will show up. But I do agree with this, with the it was a bit of a power trip that she kind of came out of nowhere to say, like, oh, I don't like the way you came off that way. Now we need to downgrade our relationship. Now we're not going to talk about memes or guys or the tea about other coworkers. And also the sad fact that then the boss, the reprimands her and says, hey, what's wrong? You know, I can't just overreact on something, and we can't go right back to that relationship. And that's the thing I would say as a I feel like a lot of my viewers are a little bit older that probably are in like management positions or supervisor positions, where you realize that some people, some of the subordinates, they can handle the banter and being coached by their superior, and they're okay with that because they realize, oh, we just have a good, like, you know, boss and employee relationship. But some people cannot do that. They try to overstep their bounds, and they think you're their buddy when you're still coworkers. You're still like you're trying to run a business, but also they don't know how to just know that there's a line. They just think, oh, we're either best friends and we're hanging out and we're just like saying whatever we want, or we're just quietly doing our job. Some people can handle it, some people can't, so I can kind of see that. But let's go ahead and see the controversial comments of negative votes saying, send her an email. Joanna, please accept my apology for last week. I'd been thinking about my cues from our previous conversations and interactions where you treated me like as a friend as well as an employee. In future, I will ensure that I interact with you in a professional manner. When she gives you a task, make sure you know the timescale it needs to be performed and deliver on that timescale. I need X doing, certainly when you need it by. There is a vibe that I'm getting makes me think that she has been trying to find out if you were maybe a potential romantic partner. Spidey senses are tingling. You're not interested in her in that way now that she's being off with you. I don't know. So this started out good, I feel, but I say it was socially inept, like sending the email like, oh, I want you to be more professional. I apologize. Like, I think that the conversation should be something, maybe not a professional email where she has documentation later on saying this is how it went down, but, you know, saying, hey, I'm sorry that I was inappropriate. I thought we had a kind of a, like, you know, I was speaking freely. Maybe I forgot that you were my superior, so I apologize and I will be more professional now. That would be a conversation that probably shouldn't happen, and which is right. But the same thing over here where they say there's a vibe that makes me think of them being a potential romantic partner. What the heck? You never had an office mate that you just talked about random stuff with, like memes and stuff? I share memes with most of my employees that I find funny, and just like, oh, ha ha, look at this thing with SpongeBob with a burger or something. Whatever. It doesn't mean I've ever been romantically interested in any of them, but it's just, what are they doing here? What this reminds me of, like, you know, someone that says like people that aren't like nice guys, hashtag nice guys, and Excel, they're always mistaking things for dates that aren't dates. And that's just a funny Excel joke. You type in any number and it just thinks it's a date and tries to convert it. And then also you want to hang out with any person that's a quote unquote nice guy or nice girl, and they just mistake it for a date. You spend them a meme like, oh my God, we're totally gonna hook up, guys. Like, that's not what this is. This is terrible advice over here. I know why I got downvotes, and it just makes me wonder of, you know, who are these people in real life that just automatically assume any nice gesture is a signifier of romantic interest? I think this person, I'm glad they got downvotes. I'm afraid of the people that interact with this person on a day-to-day basis. But as we move the video on, like, I mean, if you click this one, I'm glad that you are either subscribed to DecoyNoise or like the new thumbnail enough to be like, okay, cool, this is what it is. I just want to cap this off with, I will just be constantly changing and experimenting with different thumbnail styles. So just because it looked like this today, tomorrow might be drastically different. It might loop around to this. I'm just really trying to grow the channel in a way that I can start to see, I don't know, growth or just a bigger community. I remember when we were furloughed DecoyNoise, we were getting, you know, 10,000 views a day, and I also had so many comments to go through. It was hours and hours of just interacting with people, and now it's maybe like 15 to 20 minutes of, like, you know, my loyal followers. I like interacting with you guys, but it just is a little bit discouraging when you had such a successful channel and it's dwindled down to maybe a 1/10 of what I was doing before at the same amount of work. So I mean, hopefully the channel can make a turnaround. But as always, if you're here, I want to say I thank you for hanging out with me. Maybe if you could like the video, that would be great. Maybe if you could share the video, that would be great. But if nothing else, go ahead and put this on autoplay and watch the next episode of DecoyNoise next, or click that link over there to coach the Google algorithm. And I'm worth watching.